In-depth coverage of the salmonella scare tonight. On Friday, the health department shut down DeFusco's bakery in Johnston, recalling the Zeppole's bake there. Tonight, we're sitting down with a man who says both he and his son were stricken with severe stomach problems after eating those very pastries. Eyewitness News reporter Catherine Sotnick has more on his salmonella scare.
Well, Susan, this family says they went to DeFusco's 3 different times last week and bought the Zeppoles. Both that dad and son ate them, and they say they got extremely sick. Mom did not eat them, and she tells us she was fine. Gary Bergevine says his stomach is still queasy, and he and his 13-year-old son have been spending 2 to 3 hours a day in the bathroom.
I was sick. I was throwing up and diarrhea. I still have the diarrhea.
Bergevine tells us he bought Zeppoles from DeFusco's Park Ave location several times last week.
We went and bought some Tuesday and Thursday and Friday.
I bought a whole bunch of them, and my son even ate some, and they all got sick.
And the Department of Health tells us dozens of people have come down with salmonella poisoning, and while tests are still being done to figure out the exact source, all of those who became ill say they had eaten a Zeppole from DeFusco's. The family says they've since thrown out all their bakery food, including pizza and spinach pies.
I felt pretty angry. I mean, you got to trust these people who are working in there, and, they're not doing the right stuff.
My husband got very, very ill from it, and I just feel terrible that the other people are out there sick.
And Bergevine says it's taken him longer to recuperate because he also has diabetes, but he says luckily he was able to tough it out at home. He did not go to the emergency room. I'm Catherine Sotnick, Eyewitness News.
Our in-depth coverage continues tonight. With us now, we have Dr. David Lowe, the Chief of Infectious Diseases and Hospital Epidemiology at Kent County Hospital. He's here to shed some light on salmonella, its symptoms and treatment. Doctor, thanks for taking out some time.
Oh, you're welcome.
What are the symptoms we should be looking for here?
Salmonella starts with fevers, chills, followed by nausea, vomiting, and then the severe diarrhea.
So it's similar to the flu when you really think about it.
Well, there's more nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea, and the diarrhea persists. The flu, you might get some vomiting for a day, but not as much diarrhea.
Which groups of people should we be keeping a close eye on?
The very young and people over 50 tend to get severe disease. Oftentimes not only need hydration, but they also need antibiotics.
This winter we had a lot of people with the stomach bug or the 24-hour bug. When do we know it's time to call the doctor, that it's just not a 24-hour thing?
When it persists beyond 24 to 48 hours, when you have dehydration that you can't keep up with. For example, if you notice that you're taking your Gatorade but you're still feeling weak and sick, it's time to get to the emergency room, get some hydration. Otherwise you can get in trouble.
Now, is the Gatorade really the only treatment to use here?
Water, salts, chicken soup, any fluids that contain sugar and salt are fine. Gatorade is simple because it's basically IV solution that's been put in a palatable form.
And if there are a few people in the house that might be having the same types of symptoms, that's got to be a warning sign here.
Yes. When you see more than one person sick, you're pretty sure that maybe a common source epidemic like this one was.
Okay. Dr. Lowe, thank you for taking out the time.
My pleasure.
Count on Eyewitness News for in-depth coverage of the salmonella scare. Go to our website, WPRI.com, for a number of resources.
And we have the Health Department's hotline, a link to check the symptoms of salmonella and the treatment.